Hey, Mark, you're not trading today, right? Very good. Good for you. For some reason, I thought you said that you were trading the NQ lately more than gold. Did I mishear? Okay, you know we're gonna test a Monday NQ open only, and an NQ 10 o'clock trade. Chantal doesn't know it, but I'm going to talk to her. Thinking not the regular setup. Thinking, I'm not sure yet. Not sure yet. Because remember, we have a lot of different ways we can use the software. We can do it similar to you. We can let the market come to us. We could use the squeeze play. It doesn't have to be. I don't think it should be a breakout. Because we tried the breakout for years. And I think the breakout, exactly, it's too inconsistent. Too inconsistent. Let me go into the room because we're streaming. Good morning, folks on YouTube. Welcome to the 10-Minute Trades Trade Room. We're here for existing homes. My name is Lee Goldstein. I'm the trading director at 10-Minute Trades. Please remember that all trades we discuss are for educational purposes, and it is possible to lose money trading futures, so trade carefully. Well, I've tried to ask them to let me try Tick Strike, and then I can recommend it to members, but I just haven't been able to get through. So maybe I'll try again. I would like that tool. I think that's a really good tool. Although on the Monday open, I think that, right, it's good for management. Okay, folks, so a couple of things. There's a 9:45 report. The reason I started this trade room a little bit early was I wanted to look at how that manufacturing PMI report responds today. It has not been working since the world crisis that we're going through began. It just hasn't been working. So, but I wanted to watch it. The other thing is overnight, there were a bunch of European trades that we look at the euro. I did not look at them yet. It starts at 3:15 in the morning. So the first trade is the French Flash Manufacturing Services PMI. That's a 3:15 a.m. trade. Now, there was a bit of volatility before the trade in the euro. You can see that right there. So the trade triggers very, very volatile action. That's the trading candle. So let me just check Forex Factory. It almost looks like the news came out early. Forex Factory has a system by which they show you, did the news come out early? They put a star next to their data. I'll show you what I mean. So if you use Forex Factory as a calendar, which we like it very much. So the French news was positive, okay? The services were both positive also. The German news was mixed. And then the European news was essentially positive, okay? So German was mixed. You know, let's look at Canada retail also. So at 3:15, I don't see any stars in the file folder. That means the news most probably came out on time. Now, sometimes you can't tell just by looking at the candles what might have happened. It looked like there was a burst up on the news. I think that depending how fast that burst up was, maybe you would have gotten the first target, but then it did a very quick 3:30. That was the German trade. So maybe you would have hit your first target on the French trade. Doesn't look like you would have gotten stopped out. Now, if anybody traded them live, you can tell me right now if you're in the room. The German trade was 3:30. The data was mixed, but that looks like a winner to me. Depending how fast, that's a winner. I'd say the German trade was a big winner. And then at 4 o'clock, you have the European version of the trade. And that's usually a small mover. There's your 4 o'clock trading candle, 401. And that does not look like a very good, impactful trade. But I would probably not trade the 4 o'clock one right now. It's a small mover compared to France and Germany. Germany looks like a big winner. Looks like that was a big winner. Canada retail, the news was very positive. That was an 8:30 trade, 8:30 report. So you could see the candle burst up. Looks to me like the Canada retail news would have been tradable. Now, depending where you got filled, if you got filled at the top of the candle, I think if you use a 15 to 17 tick stop on Canada retail, clearly that would have given you a safe trade. So I think Canada retail is starting to show life. And I think that, it's not a family money trade, and that's why we didn't have a trade room for it. So I'll keep an eye on it because it looks like it's becoming tradable. But it needs a couple of more months really to see if that's true, because the last 2 months have been pretty quiet. They've been pretty quiet. That's the truth. They have not, Canada retail has not had a very impactful move. So existing homes is the main reason that we're here today. We've done a lot of testing. The breakout is lousy. I don't think that there's a reasonable reversal trade, so I don't really agree. Sir, I don't see a big enough move in the gold market on existing homes. and you'll see the videos. If you watch the video, like the last video I have is March. This was March. Now, if you're going to have a reversal, it means you have to have a burst on the news. So the news comes out, or theoretically, the news is negative in March. You have not a gigantic move up because our bracket is only about 5 or 6. So, do you have a big enough move there to take a reversal? You could. I think the risk reward is just not worth it. I don't think the risk reward is worth it. Now, March, the news was particularly negative. It wasn't good news. Price kept going up. And then you do get a reversal, but, it tries to reverse. But, you're already 2 minutes in, 2:20. And then finally, minute 3, you've got your reversal. So March did reverse, okay? March did reverse, but it took a while. Certainly something that, with current conditions, a reversal trade is safer and more profitable. I mean, it's not a breakout trade that's working well. Stop. Existing homes. The home reports have never been, in my opinion, what I would call family money trades. And if we look at the way our family money concept has been going since we started, I think we started it 2.5 weeks ago, and we've had two bad trades out of about 8 or 9. We had one natural gas trade that didn't work, and we had the API report that didn't work this week. Yesterday, our last family trade of the week was natural gas. This was the natural gas trade. Now, a lot of people think I'm crazy for saying that natural gas is a family money trade. 3 years ago, natural gas was an account blower outer. Natural gas would blow out your account with ease 3 years ago. It was unreliable. It was whipsaw city. It was untradeable. But now, the past 1.5 years, we've been getting those kind of moves, like yesterday. Yesterday, it hit both my targets in a second, literally 1 second. So as much as my heart is in my throat during natural gas trades, because I know what natural gas can do, natural gas has been a good report. And that was our last family money trade of the week, and it was a winner. Australia Jobs the night before was a winner. When we look at this week's schedule of all our trades, API was a loser, 20-year bond was a winner, Australia employment was a winner, natural gas was a winner, so we were 3 for 4 in family money trades. We didn't make a ton of money this week because the API was a painful loser, and we had to make it back with 2 of the trades. So really, we had 1 trade that was full profit for the week. But we're trading larger and larger sizes on the family money trades. So ultimately, I think our profits will go up. Our account's been growing since we started this family money concept. And that was the whole idea. What can we do to get the account growing on a regular basis? Now we have 2 accounts. Some trades I'll still take if they're not family money trades. And I try to take those in our test account or our smaller account because I don't want it to affect the money in our big account and make it more difficult to track the family trades. Okay. Now we have a setup for existing homes that it's kind of wild, and I may try it today. It's not super high risk because it's NQ and it's only like a 12 tick stop. So it's like a risk of a couple $100. Not even. Not even. I think it's worth the shot. The testing looks very interesting. Very interesting. So we'll get to that in a couple of minutes. I wanted to show you, it's interesting. In January, we had Flash Manufacturing, the trade I'm going to look at now, with existing homes 15 minutes later. So here's the 945 trade. I like it, used to like it with gold. And it worked beautifully in January. And the news was very nicely positive. Nicely positive. But the trade's been uneven and inconsistent. So one good trade does not make a family money trade. Now, January's existing homes, and we traded it. Sometimes existing homes works. So January, it filled us. Looks like it's going to work. The news is good. Gold goes the wrong way, but it works. Okay. So January existing homes work. Let's see if that holds up on our report. Yeah, so January was one of the winners. February, let's see if I have the video. Yeah, I have the video for February. So February is existing homes. And we were not trading it live. That tells me that the reports were not looking great. So you got filled to the short side in February, right at the edge. No, it went past your bracket. You had positive news, so the short side was not really the side you wanted to be filled on. And it really filled and just was a very dull trade. The first 30 seconds, it really didn't do anything. And one of the other issues was gold had a very big trend. Okay. Gold had a big trend upwards that day. But it did fill, it hit the first target and then went down and hit the second target. If you waited 2 minutes. So that was February, but there was a question in the analysis of that initial move. And whether it would have, whether liquidity would have gotten you filled where you got filled in SIM. That's a big issue in sim because there's no very little slippage in sim. It does not represent real life on breakout trades the way a trap trade does. In other words, the trap trade, because it's a multiple direction, opposite direction trade. In other words, when the market's going up, you're selling. When the market's going down, you're buying. So the trap trade, by definition, is a low slippage trade. Okay. So your testing when you simulate is pretty reliable. So I'm going to test the 945 trade because I've been watching it for a long time. It's definitely not a family money trade. I really don't recommend anybody trade it because the behavior of the report has not been what I would call reliable. If I were going to trade it, we used to test it all the time on gold. Okay, used to always test it on gold. And I would use a bracket of 6 ticks, one target. Actually 5 ticks is fine. A second target of 12 ticks, a stop of 10, and an entry time of 9:45. That's how I would test it. Entry time of 9:45. I think the news is going to be positive. I think manufacturing is on the uptick in the U.S. So one more time, I'm using a stop of 10, targets of 5 and 12, a bracket of 6, and an entry time of 9:45. That's my test setup. Okay. I'll record it. And we did test this report this week, and it was extremely inconsistent. Now, we are starting to see more and more trades work. So I am anticipating that as the economies open up, hopefully the rest of the world will deal positively with the crisis, the health crisis that every country is going through, and most of the world at some point, hopefully sooner rather than later, is going to return more to normal. People working more in offices again, we should start to see news releases becoming more consistent in the way they get released, because that's been adding to the challenges. So for the next month and a half, we're going to continue with our family trade concept. If it works really well, we may stay with that for a while. Why change something that makes you money? Right now it's working and it looks really good. And as you keep watching reports and reports start behaving better, which is what I anticipate, you add more and more reports to family money risk. Like I can think of 2 reports right now off the top of my head that I will add to family money next month. And one of them is, if it trades by itself, Canada Jobs. One of the problems with Canada Jobs is it usually trades with the US jobs report. but there's a few times a year it doesn't. That's a family money trade. Either way, you can trade it instead of the U.S. jobs report. You could trade it with the U.S. jobs report. It's a family money trade. And I think the Canada bank statement looks like a real nice trade now. And Canada's $5 a tick. So if you just want to trade one or two contracts, the risk is low. Look at gold. Now, the market opened only 10 minutes ago, but this is one of the reasons that 945 trade has been difficult also. Let's watch the NQ at 945 also. Now, you want to make sure you don't have your chart spread too far. So 1889, 1887, 10, that's 20 tick candle. That's a big candle, $2 in a minute. Now, it's not unusual in these markets to see those types of moves. Let's sync our computer by going to the website time.is, okay? Now, I'm just curious, how do you all feel about the whole family money concept? Remember, we said that if we do it, we would have a few less trade rooms. Because if we're not going to take a trade, we don't have to have a trade room. If we know for sure we're not going to take a trade unless there's educational value in that trade room, we're not going to have that trade room. So Mark is in favor of it. I know that I thought that Fred was in favor of it. Generally, we decided to do it because there wasn't one person that said they didn't want to do it. Now, it will mean that every now and then there's a slow week. Next week is the slowest week I can ever remember since I've been here. But my interest is growing the account. That's my main interest. I agree, Mark. It's also summer. You don't have to trade every day. We often, sometimes Mondays are quiet for our type of trading. You definitely don't have to trade every day. Most traders overtrade so much and lose so much money because they overtrade. There's just no question that overtrading is one of the worst diseases a trader can have. Revenge trading, overtrading, two of the worst things you can do. But having a plan, knowing when you're going to trade, knowing which events you're going to trade for us is relaxing. Much more relaxing than worrying about every single report, worrying about reports that you think are a coin toss instead of a strong probability to profit. And of course, impatience, also one of the worst diseases a trader can have. And it is my favorite because it's my biggest problem. My biggest problem is impatience. I would say 80% of all traders suffer from significant impatience. They either get out too soon, they get out too soon. Yeah, I agree with that, Mark. Mark, I'm sort of addressing that by having bigger second targets also, so that I can integrate it into our trading style. He's talking about having runners, bigger targets on the trades that follow through. That'll allow us to do that within the confines of our regular setup by increasing that second or adding a third target. Mark will take care of that. Yes, that's where the third target comes in when that second target's not big enough. It's definitely something I'm thinking about constantly now with the family trading especially. All right, here comes the trade. All right, we synced our computer. We've got a 6-tick bracket. I believe that we will get filled. It would be a 15-second cancel. And the news, so look, the trade worked, right? It went the wrong way. Gold should, and this is one of the problems we're having with gold. But even the NQ didn't respond, in my opinion, in the proper direction. But gold looked like it moved. It had a good news move, but I'm not so sure it moved the right way. Gold on good news, which we had, should go up, right? But it hasn't been doing that in months. So maybe we should just forget that for a while and just let gold do its thing and just look for a direction, right? Not worry about it so much. Because you have a news move, gold is just moving differently because of all the issues that are going on in the market today. So that was a good looking trade. That was a good looking trade. Let's look quickly at the video and then I want to set up existing homes. So manufacturing news tends to move markets. The markets like that type of news. So 945, really you just get a straight move down. Doesn't look like there was any danger of being filled the wrong way. It looks like the bracket was a good size, right? The bracket was a good size. It was almost entered before the news came out. In fact, it entered exactly. You might want to put this trade on at 59 rather than 45. All right, but let's go over to existing homes. That's why we're here. All right, so we have a setup for existing homes, okay? We have a gold setup that's on. Look at that move out of gold. I mean, it's really, and the NQ is going down on what seemed to be good manufacturing news also. It's hard to know why. Sometimes you have to really analyze the markets a little bit better. I'm going to trade this in my smaller account. What's the good news moves gold down? Am I losing my mind? Yeah, no, it moved the right way. I'm sorry. I apologize. Good news. The manufacturing was good. Gold's going the right way. The NQ is not. The NQ is not. I stand corrected. Thank you. Existing homes. We know the housing market is on fire. The thing that affects the housing market is inventory on existing homes. If they have the inventory, then you can get a good report. If they don't have the inventory, then you could have problems. You could have problems with your availability of product, home product. Okay, it's my error. Gold should have gone down. It did go down. So a quick setup on existing homes for gold. What's the NQ margin these days? Somebody tell me the NQ margin these days. Anybody? If I have to look it up, I will. So our gold setup for this trade is a bracket of 6, targets of 3 and 7. It's a small trade. It's not very big. And an entry of 59. A stop of 11. Okay. And then an entry of 9, 59, 59. That's the gold setup. 9, 59, 59. It's 1,000 mark. Existing homes. All right. The gold setup. That's a test. Okay. That's a test. Our NQ is a trap trade. Okay. And I hope I have enough margin to trade it. I'm going to set the trade up and then I will check. And because there's not a lot of time, I'm going to do this kind of quickly, okay? Price at the time, last fill price. The stop is 15. Let me make sure about my stop on the NQ. Yep. Our tiers are really big. Our orders, outside order, order 2, which is the higher order, is 70 ticks. So we're using 55 ticks, 70 ticks. We're preparing, the orders are going, we're activating the trade 10 seconds before the news. Actually, let me make sure about that. Yep, 10 seconds before the news. Let me just verify my info here. The cancel rule is 2 minutes, okay? If it doesn't fill, it's got to move pretty far to cancel. And our stop is 15. And we're looking for 20 to 40 ticks of a target. So big, our stop is 15, okay? Entry time is 10 o'clock, but it really is 10 seconds before that. That's when our orders are going to show up. I'm going to actually give it a shot and see if the trade works. The risk, I mean, we've practiced, tried these setups, okay? We've tried and tested these setups, and that's why we have this other account. So I have large tiers or orders. My outside orders, 55 ticks and 70 ticks, 10 seconds before the report takes place, okay? And we call it a trap trade. trap trade because if it goes up, we're going to trap it and move down. If it goes down, we're going to trap it and move up. We're going to trade opposite directions, okay? If the price moves up on existing homes, we're going to sell. If price moves down on existing homes, we're going to buy. All right? So, David, I'm not getting a bike. I'm going to the website time.is to sync my computer. So I've been thinking of getting a bike, an electric bike, and I live in an area where the roads are so horrendous. I think I'm going to spend my whole life trying to fix flat tires. David, you ever use slime on your tires? Does it work? Does slime work? So I'm going to try the trap trade. I'm also going to test the gold breakout. So I'm not even going to watch the gold breakout. All right. I'm just going to let that run and manage itself. I'm trading the trap trade live on existing homes. And I'm risking a stop of 15 ticks per contract, 2 contracts. That's 150, roughly $150. Now it's making the stop 17. Sometimes the program makes you use a specific stop, so the stop is not in between tiers or in between orders. So sometimes you have to listen to the program. It has intelligence. So our tiers are big, 55 ticks and 70 ticks. They'll show up on the chart 10 seconds before the news. And if the news doesn't move the NQ dramatically, then we won't get filled. And we'll wait 2 minutes to see if we get filled. And if it just explodes in one direction, we'll get stopped out. But that's what our test account is for, to test our new setups. This is a brand new setup. If we don't test them, we're never going to know if what we do works. We're also, if we don't test them, we'll never know if it's going to become a family money trade. Our testing on this report was pretty good with the trap trade. It was pretty good. So if you have good testing, eventually you got to bite the bullet and try a real trade. I'm going to check my time one more time. Time.is, and I'm in sync. My orders are going to show up 10 seconds. And the NQ, the thing that worries me today about the NQ is the trend. A little bit concerned with the trend. Put the NQ on points. I mean, it's up a lot of points. It's up 50 points. But you can see you still had the capability to have large moves down. Also, at the open, it made a new high and then went down. So we'll see if existing homes has the power to move the market. It's a 2-minute cancel. If the news is monstrous in one direction or another, that sometimes could be a reason that you might not want to be waiting for a trap trade, because monstrous news, monstrous offset, meaning incredibly good news or incredibly bad news, might make the index move in one direction. So, there's no shame in canceling a trade if you don't like the results of the report, the news. It doesn't make you a chicken. It just makes you making a decision based on your previous experience of trading these types of trades. So you'll see in 10 seconds, our orders are going to show up. And there they are. So we need a fairly big move for this trade to work. So the news is out. It's negative, okay? Not horrifyingly negative, okay? It's now the gold trade would have worked, it looks like to me. Now, in theory, we're supposed to wait 2 minutes for existing homes. So the news is negative, and really the price is just chopping around. What's interesting is the gold trade worked. So we can cancel that. Okay, the gold trade worked. Now, existing homes is just bouncing around. It's negative news, right? It's negative news. It's a Friday. Now we'll watch the video because it's very interesting that gold, I think gold's trading better in the past 2 weeks. I think there's no doubt gold has been trading. Now our cancel rule is 2 minutes. So if it doesn't fill in the next 15 seconds, we will cancel the trade. Because that's the rule. To cancel a trap trade, you hit the close button. You have to hit the close button. So this looks like a canceled trade, folks. It is what it is. It's a Friday. So we didn't get the move that we thought we would. So I'm going to cancel it. I gave it an extra 10 seconds. All right, so it is what it is. Let's look at the video. We just didn't get an impactful move from the news. But what's interesting is gold worked nicely. So, maybe on some of these trades that we really were so worried that gold was totally stopping working, it's really seeming over the past couple of weeks to be trading much, much better. Much, much better. Not on everything, because yesterday's Thursday unemployment trade, gold did not behave well at all. So I still think you have to pick and choose your reports very, very carefully. Now, YouTube folks, there's a lot of you out there. Sometimes your rules keep you out of a trade, and that keeps money in your pocket. So I think you should like our stream and sign up for our channel so you can learn more and more about how to do this. That's what I think you should do. And hit the notification bell so you know the next time we're going to be here. All right? And thanks so much, YouTube folks, for watching. So now let's just look at that gold trade because it looked like it worked nicely. Let's see if it really did. So we're watching the right side. Our orders are placed. Looks very safe. Gold takes its time filling. And, it didn't look like the best news move, but it did look like a little bit of a delayed news move. It didn't respond. It's doing what gold's been doing for the past months. It's been waiting 10 or 15 seconds. In the old days, news would trigger an immediate move. Now with gold, we're seeing exactly what happened today. A little bit of chopping around, so your bracket needs to be bigger than it used to be. And then you get that news move, and you can see it. There was what appears to be a news move, and it's in the right direction on existing homes. So the NQ is still pretty much sitting where it was sitting. Just no trade today. Just no trade. Nothing you can do about that. Nothing you can do about that. Sometimes you want to trade live and you just don't have a trade. And there's no shame or embarrassment in that. Your rules keep you safe. Okay? And then you note in the journal that gold may be looking better in general, and on existing home sales, it looks like it may be okay to trade gold. I probably wouldn't call it family money. It's not quite that reliable yet, but I would consider keeping a serious eye on it and see how it gets over the next month or so. All right. So I want to thank our YouTube friends for watching. That's our last trade room of the day today. Next week, we'll be back, of course. We have some different things I'm going to be looking at. Anybody have any questions? The trap trade software is almost done. If there's no other questions, folks, have a good weekend, and I'll see everybody. I'll see everybody next week. All right, folks. Take care. And Brian, if you want to see next week's trades, it's kind of quiet next week. This is preliminary. I always check the schedule over the weekend also in case anything gets added. Next week's one of the quietest weeks I can remember. New Zealand retail sales, I believe there's a trade there, but it's Sunday night. We don't usually do Sunday night trade rooms. I'm going to be watching a couple of New Zealand reports very closely. Tuesday, we got CB consumer confidence. I think I'll take that trade in the test account. API, Wednesday, we've got crude. I'm going to be looking at the 5-year note on Wednesday to see if that is a bond trade that might work. And then Thursday, there's a lot of news. Preliminary GDP, durable goods, unemployment, natural gas, 7-year note, an Australia report that has not been moving, used to be a big mover, so I like to keep an eye on it, private capital expenditures. And then Friday, I'm watching core PCE price index with personal spending and index. Brian actually was the one who said, take a look at that. He thought it was moving. And Chicago PMI, not a family money trade, but I'll have a trade room for that. I'll have a trade room for that. So it's kind of quiet next week, kind of quiet. And then we get a very busy week after Memorial Day, first week of the month, jobs report, ISMs. It'll be busy. Okay, folks, have a great weekend, and I'll see everybody. See you all next week. All right. Chantal, if you can hear me, you can shut down YouTube. Thanks, everybody on YouTube. And I'll see everybody. See you soon. Take care, everybody.